I never thought I'd crash my own sister's wedding with a bottle of champagne in one hand and a forged doctor's note in the other, but desperation has a way of rewriting your moral compass. The invitation that never came was bad enough, but when I overheard my mother on the phone, whispering to the florist that poor Eden was too sick to attend, that the chemo had her bedridden and delusional, it hit like a freight train through my chest. Turns out, the family's secret I'd buried for 8 years, the one that cost me my job, my fiancé, and half my goddamn soul, was the punchline they needed to keep me out of the spotlight. It started in the sweltering summer of 2017, back when Brooklyn still felt like home instead of a graveyard of broken promises. I was 28, fresh off a promotion at the ad agency downtown, the kind of job that had me rubbing elbows with hipsters who pretended to care about craft beer ethics. My sister, Lila, was the golden child, 2 years younger, with that effortless beauty that turns heads in coffee shops and boardrooms alike. She worked in finance up on Wall Street, flashing her MBA like a badge, but we all knew the real hustle was in her side gigs, charming clients into bad deals, skimming just enough to fund her Hamptons weekends without anyone noticing. Or so she thought. Mom and Dad had always played favorites, but it was subtle at first. Extra slices of pie for Lila, the easy college tuition covered while I scraped by on loans. By the time we hit our 20s, it was blatant. Lila could do no wrong. I was the fixer, the one who cleaned up her messes because family sticks together. Eden. Blood's thicker than water. God, how I hated that phrase. It echoed in my head like a bad country song every time I covered for her. The mess that broke me was the Emerson account. Lila's firm was handling a merger for this old money real estate tycoon, Harold Emerson, the kind of guy who summered in the Adirondacks and wintered in Aspen, with a Rolodex full of senators. She was point on the deal, schmoozing him over martinis at the Polo Lounge knockoffs in Midtown. But Lila, being Lila, got greedy. She fudged the projections, nothing huge, just enough to juice the numbers and pocket a fat bonus. When the SEC started sniffing around, it wasn't Lila they pinned it on. No, that honor went to me, the loyal sister who'd helped with the paperwork during a late-night crunch session. I didn't even work at her firm, but my name was on the email she'd forged, my signature scanned from a birthday card. Why me? I'd screamed at her in our childhood kitchen, the one with the yellow Formica counters that hadn't been updated since Reagan. Mom was at the sink, pretending to scrub pots, Dad buried in his crossword, like always. Because you're the steady one, Eden. Lila had cooed, her eyes wide with that fake innocence she perfected in Sorority Rush. It'll blow over. A slap on the wrist, maybe some community service. I can't afford the scandal. I'm up for partner.
Partner.
At 26. While I was grinding for mid-level creative director, I took the fall. Pleaded guilty to accessory fraud, served 6 months in a minimum security hellhole upstate. Think, Orange is the new black, but with worse coffee and zero glamour. Lost my job, my savings, my fiancé Mark who bailed with a text. Can't build a life on quicksand, babe. When I got out, the family acted like it was water under the bridge. Hugs at Christmas, awkward brunches where Dad muttered about fresh starts. But Lila? She climbed the ladder, got engaged to some venture capitalist named Trent from Connecticut Money, the kind of guy who calls his Tesla the Beast unironically. Fast forward to last spring. I'm piecing my life back together in a one-bedroom in Astoria, freelancing graphic design for startups that pay in exposure and ramen. Therapy twice a week, because unpacking Betrayal doesn't come with a user manual. That's when the wedding invites drop. Lila's big day at the plaza, white orchids, string quartet, the works. I wait for mine, checking the mail like a junkie. Nothing. A week later, still nada. I call Mom, casual as hell. Hey, got the details? Need to block the weekend. Silence on the line, then that sigh, the one that says you're about to get the family script. Oh, honey, we were going to talk to you. It's just, with your health scare last year and the doctors saying you might not be up for crowds. Health scare? I'd had a bout of pneumonia after a flu that knocked me flat, but that was 18 months ago. Cleared by every test. What the hell, Mom?
I'm fine.
Send the invite. It's complicated, Eden. Lila's stressed, Trent's family is traditional. We didn't want to upset the apple cart. Upset the apple cart. Code 4. You're the black sheep. Stay in the shadows. I hung up and drove to Dad's hardware store in Bay Ridge, the one he'd run since I was in diapers. He was behind the counter, tallying nails, avoiding my eyes. They told the guests I'm dying, Dad. Terminal. That's why no invite. He rubbed his mustache, a habit from when he quit smoking. It was Lila's idea. Said it was kinder this way. Let people pray for you instead of whispering about, the past.
The past.
My rap sheet, courtesy of her lies. I stormed out, tires screeching on the wet pavement, rain hammering the windshield like accusations. That night, I sat on my fire escape with a bottle of cheap bourbon, scrolling through Lila's Instagram, her glowing with Trent at brunches, her ring catching the light like a taunt. Comments flooded in. Prayers for your sister Eden during this tough time, Red Heart. So sorry about the health stuff. Sending love. Lies upon lies, layered like the fondant on her cake. That's when the hook sank in deep. I wasn't just excluded. I was erased, painted as the tragic invalid, so they could have their perfect day without my baggage. The Emerson fallout? Buried deeper than Jimmy Hoffa. But I remembered every detail. The falsified docs, the offshore account she'd funneled the skim into, the witness she paid off with a Birkin bag. I'd kept my mouth shut for family, but family had sold me out twice over. Revenge isn't a light switch. It's a slow burn, the kind that chars from the inside. First, I confirmed the lie. Hacked into Mom's email, guilty pleasure from my agency days, a forgotten password later, and there it was, the group chat with the wedding planner. Please inform guests Eden won't be attending due to her ongoing battle with cancer. Discreetly, of course. Cancer. They'd upgraded my pneumonia to stage 4 for dramatic effect. Next, the plan. Not some Lifetime movie explosion of rage. No, this had to be surgical, American as apple pie, and a good con. I called in favors, an old colleague from the agency, now a PI in Queens, to dig up dirt. Turns out, Trent's old money was built on a pyramid of tax dodges, and Lila? She'd dipped into his accounts for her bridal Botox fund. Juicy, but not enough. The real gold was in the Emerson files. I still had copies, tucked in a safety deposit box like a grenade pin. But the twist? I didn't want to blow it up outright. No, I wanted them to choke on their own hypocrisy. The wedding was 3 months out. Plenty of time to seed doubt, to make the guests question the fairy tale. I started small. Anonymous tips to the officiant, a rabbi with a nose for ethics, hinting at irregularities in the bride's past. Then the health angle. I got a doctor friend, sworn to secrecy over IPAs, to draft a miracle recovery letter, complete with my name and a bullshit remission story. Leaked it to the society pages via a gossip blogger I knew from happier days. Word spread like wildfire through the Upper East Side vines. Eden's beating the odds. What a fighter. Will she make the reception? Lila's phone must have been blowing up. I could picture her, manicured nails tapping, rage texting the family group. Who the fuck is talking? The rehearsal dinner was my first strike. I didn't crash. I RSVP'd as +1 to a distant cousin, the one who always mixed me up with the caterer. Slipped in through the service entrance at Le Bernardin, black dress hugging my rehabbed figure. Yoga and spite do wonders. The room was all crystal and whispers, Trent's waspy clan in pastel seersucker, Mom tipsy on Chardonnay. Lila spotted me across the foie gras, her smile cracking like cheap porcelain.
Eden?
What are you doing here? Celebrating my remission, sis. Heard the good news hasn't reached the rumor mill yet. I raised my glass, clinking with a silver-haired aunt who pulled me into a hug, tears in her eyes. God bless you, dear. We all prayed so hard. Lila's face drained of color, that perfect contour blush standing out like war paint. Trent hovered, clueless, murmuring about inspirational stories. I played the part, frail but fierce, dropping hints about overcoming family trials that had the table nodding sagely. By dessert, half the guests were toasting my courage, while Lila excused herself to the ladies' room, probably dry-heaving into a hand towel. That night, the voicemail started. Mom, Eden, this isn't funny. You're ruining everything. Dad, come on, kiddo, let's talk it out. Lila's was the gem. Voicemail from a block number. Voice like venom. You bitch. I gave you a roof after prison. This is how you repay me. Repay her? For the roof that leaked, the loans that never got repaid? I deleted it and poured another drink, the city lights blurring into a vengeful constellation. But revenge, real revenge, isn't a solo act. It's a cast of characters, each with their own axes. Enter Javier, my PI buddy, ex-cop from the Bronx with a grudge against white-collar crooks the size of the George Washington Bridge. He delivered the Emerson dossier, updated. Lila hadn't stopped at one skim. She'd been running a shadow operation, laundering through Trent's crypto ventures. The wedding funds? Tainted. Guests' checks bouncing off dirty money. We could go nuclear, Javier said over empanadas in his Astoria walk-up, his gold chain glinting under the fluorescent. Tip the feds, watch the plaza go up in subpoenas. But that was too clean, too final. No, I wanted the slow poison, the kind that makes you question if the victim deserved the dose. I opted for the leak. Doctored photos of the falsified docs, emailed to Trent's best man, a straight-arrow lawyer from Yale. FYI, might want to vet the bride's history before the vows.
The fallout was poetic.
Rehearsal brunch the next day. I wasn't invited, but I tuned in via a bugged centerpiece, courtesy of Javier's Tequa's nephew. Trent's voice, tight as a noose. Lila, these emails. Your sister's name, but it's your IP. What the hell? Her reply, all silk and steel. Ancient history, baby. Eden's the screw-up, not me. She's jealous, crashing our day to stir shit. Jealous. Of the life she stole? The words hung in the air, crackling through my earpiece as I walked the High Line, tourists oblivious to my unraveling grin. The wedding week ramped up the tension like a pressure cooker on high. Lila's bridal shower turned into a whisper fest, guests side-eyeing the gift table, wondering if the monogrammed towels were bought with laundered calves. Mom called daily, alternating pleas and guilt trips. Think of your father, Eden. His heart. As if his heart hadn't skipped a beat when he testified on her behalf, perjuring himself for the golden girl. I held back, letting the doubt fester. Then, the eve of ceremony gift, a custom video montage spliced from old home movies. I'd hired an editor on Fiverr, cheap, anonymous. It played on loop in the hotel suite, courtesy of a USB in the welcome basket. Clips of us as kids, laughing over Kool-Aid, cut with audio overlays. My prison intake interview, voice trembling as I confessed to crimes that weren't mine. Ending with Lila's voice from that kitchen fight. Because you're the steady one, Eden. The family watched it unravel in real time. Dad's face crumpled. Mom gasped like a Victorian swoonu. Lila? She smashed the remote, shards flying, screaming. This is defamation. I'll sue your ass. But the damage was done. Trent's family pulled back, subtle, like frost on a window. The rehearsal dinner toasts turned tepid, questions laced with subtext. And me? I was the ghost in the machine, the miracle sister they couldn't ignore. The day of the wedding dawned gray, the kind of Manhattan drizzle that soaks your bones. The plaza loomed like a wedding cake fortress, doormen in crisp uniforms waving limos through the porte cochere. I arrived fashionably late, valet parking the beat-up Civic I'd borrowed from Javier. Nothing says underdog like rust spots. My dress was thrift store chic, emerald green to clash with the bridal palette, hair loose like I didn't give a damn. Security waved me through, Lila's doing, too proud to blacklist me outright. The lobby buzzed, aunts in fascinatas, uncles nursing flasks, the air thick with Chanel and champagne flutes. I slipped into the grand ballroom, the one with the crystal chandeliers that could bankrupt a small nation. Lila was at the altar setup, veil trailing like a surrender flag, Trent fidgeting in his cummerbund. She saw me first, eyes narrowing to slits. Get out. Now. Missed you too, sis. Wouldn't dream of missing the vows, especially after all we've shared. Trent approached, hand extended like a truce. Eden, right?
Heard about your
recovery, inspiring. I shook it, squeezing just hard enough to unsettle. Thanks. Family pulls you through, doesn't it? Or tries to bury you. The ceremony started at noon, strings swelling like a bad rom-com. I took a seat in the back, next to a tipsy cousin who'd always had a soft spot for me. Vows exchanged, Trent's earnest, Lila's clipped. Rings slid on, kisses planted. Applause rippled, but it felt hollow. Echoes of the lies we'd all swallowed. The reception was where it ignited. Cocktails in the terrace room, skyline mocking us through the rain-lashed windows. I nursed a gin and tonic, watching Lila hold court, her laugh a brittle shield. Then the best man, my Yale leak, took the mic for his toast. He started safe, to Trent and Lila, a power couple in every sense. But his eyes flicked to me, then to the tablet in his hand. And to family. Because true bonds weather the storms, the frauds, the falls, the secrets we keep to protect our own. Gasps rippled. He projected the screen. Not my video, but the Emerson docs, redacted just enough to damn without doxing. Lila's face, frozen in a client photo, stamped, investigation pending. Chaos erupted. Trent's mother shrieked, "What is this?" Mom fainted into a chair, Dad's face ashen. Lila lunged for the mic, but security, hired by Trent's side, held her back. It's a lie. Eden forged it. She's the criminal. The room split like a fault line. Half the guests surged to the exits, whispering of scandals and refunds. The other half, our side, the ones who'd profited from the silence, turned on me with glares that could curdle milk. "How could you?" an aunt hissed, clutching her pearls. I stood, glass raised, voice steady as the subway at rush hour. How could I? 8 years ago, I went to prison for her greed. Today, they lied about my death to keep me away. Family, right? Blood's thicker than the truth. Trent grabbed Lila's arm, hissing, "Is this real?" She wrenched free, tears smearing mascara like war paint. "Baby, listen." But he was already walking out, mother in tow, the string quartet stumbling into a dirge. The plaza staff hovered, checks in hand for the half-empty bar. Lila turned on me then, crossing the room in a rustle of tulle, hand raised like she might slap the sense back into us both. "You ruined my life," she whispered, breath hot with rage and Merlot. "No, sis. You did that years ago. I just sent the bill." She didn't hit me. Worse, she laughed, a hollow bark that echoed off the gilt walls. "You think this ends it? I'll drag you down with me. Every last lie, every favor you called in, I'll burn it all." The threat hung there, polarizing the stragglers. Was I the vengeful harpy or the wronged saint? Mom sobbed in the corner. Dad stared like I'd shot Kennedy. As the rain pounded harder, washing the city clean, I slipped out, the last laugh bubbling up bitter and sweet. But revenge, darling, it's never the end credits. It's the director's cut, the one that leaves you arguing in the lobby. The fallout from the plaza hit like a nor'easter, swift, soaking, and impossible to outrun. By Monday morning, my inbox was a war zone. Spam from tabloids hungry for the sister slapdown saga, LinkedIn messages from old colleagues sniffing for freelance dirt, and a cease and desist from Lila's shark of a lawyer, threatening to sue for intentional infliction of emotional distress. Emotional distress. As if my 6 months in lockup hadn't been a masterclass in that. I holed up in Astoria, blinds drawn against the paparazzi light, freelance photogs with telephoto lenses, hoping for a teary breakdown. Javier brought takeout from the Greek spot on Ditmars, souvlaki wrapped in pity. "You good, chica?" That was some Columbo shit back there. "Good?" Try vindicated with a side of vertigo. I picked at the pita, the tzatziki sour on my tongue. The high from the crash had crashed itself, leaving the wreckage, Mom's radio silence, Dad's one-line text, "Call when you're ready," and Trent's family jetting back to Greenwich without a backward glance. Lila, though, she was the wild card, the antagonist who flipped scripts like a bad poker player. Tuesday, she showed at my door unannounced, no makeup, hair in a greasy ponytail that screamed rock-bottom chic. The doorman buzzed her up, traitor, and I opened to find her clutching a manila envelope, eyes red-rimmed but sharp. Trent left, she said, pushing past me into the cramped living room. She dropped onto the couch like she owned it, the one I'd salvaged from a stoop sale. Packed his shit and ghosted. Said he couldn't marry, potential liability. Happy now? Not happy.
Hollow maybe.
Like winning a duel but finding the opponent's blood on your hands too. What do you want, Lila? Absolution? A hug? She tossed the envelope at my feet. Photos spilling out, grainy shots of me and Javier at his nephew's tech shop, timestamps from last month. Your little PI operation. I know everything. The bugs, the leaks. One call to the cops, and you're back inside for extortion. Extortion. The word twisted like a knife in an old wound. I knelt, scooping the pics, my pulse hammering. She'd tailed me? Or worse, had help. Blackmail's more your speed, sis. Remember the Birkin buy-off? Her laugh was mirthless, echoing off the exposed brick. That was business. This is war. You think you're the victim? I built that life. The firm, the ring, while you wallowed in your artistic bullshit. Prison was your choice. My choice. I surged up, fists clenched. I confessed to your fraud. Forged my name, hid your accounts. For what? So you could play debutante. She stood, close enough I could smell her unwashed desperation. Notes of Chanel No. 5 gone feral. And you loved it. The martyr complex, Eden. Mom and Dad doted on you after, didn't they? Our brave girl. Meanwhile, I slaved to keep the lights on, covering Dad's gambling debts with those bonuses. Gambling debts. The secret within the secret. Dad's crosswords at the OTB, Mom's blind eye. I'd known, vaguely. Overdrafts here, a pond watch there, but Lila handling it? Covering with dirty money? The room spun, alliances fracturing like cheap glass. You're lying, I whispered, but the doubt crept in, American as a Ponzi scheme. Am I? Ask him. Or better, join me. We exposed Trent's tax crap, split the settlement. Sisters against the world, like old times. The flip. Classic Lila. Villain to ally in a heartbeat. Decisions controversial as a Supreme Court leak. Part of me, the tired, traitorous part, wanted to say yes. Blood's thicker, remember? But the other part, the one forged in cell block gray, saw the trap. She'd hang me out to dry again, the fall guy for her comeback tour. Get out, I said, voice steel. Before I add these pics to the montage sequel. She lingered, eyes searching mine for weakness. You'll regret this, Eden. Alone is how you end up. The door clicked shut, and I slid down it, photos scattering like confetti from a funeral. Alone. Yeah, that was the real revenge, hers on me, for daring to rise. Wednesday brought the media storm. Heiress wedding implodes. Fraud allegations rock Upper East Side nuptials. Screamed page 6, my face blurred in the sidebar as vengeful sib. Calls flooded. Producers from Dr. Phil clones, begging for the Family Feud exclusive. I ignored them, but Javier didn't. He forwarded a tip from an SEC contact. Lila's firm was under audit, the Emerson ghost rising like bad acid. She's cornered, he said over burner phones, paranoia our new normal. But watch your back. Chick like that? She'll cut a deal, sell you out to save her skin. He was right. By Thursday, Dad called, a real talk, voice gravelly from unlit camels. We met at the old diner in Bay Ridge, the one with the Naugahyde booths and coffee that could strip paint. He looked smaller, shoulders hunched under the weight of decades' denial. She told me everything, he started, stirring sugar into black sludge. The debts, the covering. I should have come clean years ago. Should've. The word hung, bitter as the brew. Why didn't you? Fear, kid. Of losing the store, the house. Lila promised it'd be quick money. Then the Emerson thing. I pushed you to take the hit. Thought it'd keep us all afloat.
Pushed me.
The confirmation gutted me. A second betrayal layered on the first. Dad, my rock, or so I'd thought, staring me into the fire. And the cancer lie? That was her too. He nodded, eyes down. Said it was mercy. Let you bow out graceful. I went along. Weak, I know.
Weak.
The family curse. Weakness masked as loyalty. Decisions that left scorch marks. I wanted to hate him, but the anger fizzled into exhaustion. What now? Forgive? Or fight? He reached across, hand calloused from hammer swings. Lila's talking plea, naming names. Yours might be on the list. The diner blurred, forks clinking like alarm bells.
Fight.
That's what Americans do, right? Sue, expose, rise from the ashes with a TED Talk. But forgiveness? That was the controversial path, the one that split dinner parties and therapy groups. I left him there, rain slicking the streets, and drove to Javier's. We go public, I told him, the decision crystallizing like frost. Full disclosure, my confession, her fraud, Dad's debts. Let the chips fall. He whistled low. That's scorched earth, Eden. You sure? No takebacks. No takebacks. The phrase from childhood games, now a vow. We spent the night drafting, emails to the Times, affidavits for the DA. By dawn, it was sent, truth as weapon, controversial as hell. Because who was right? The betrayed sister exposing all, or the family imploding under their own lies? Friday, the hammer dropped. Lila's arrest hit the wires at 9 a.m., cuffs in the lobby of her firm's tower, skirt suit rumpled, no camera-ready poise. The news chopper thwopped overhead as I watched from a coffee shop, latte cooling untouched. Reporters swarmed, mics thrusting like bayonets. Miss Harlow, any comment on the fraud charges? She glared through them, straight at the lens, straight at me if intuition served. Family destroys family. That's the real crime.
Ouch.
The soundbite went viral, painting me as the serpent in the garden. Social media erupted. Team Lila trending with sob stories from her sorority sisters, Justice for Eden counters from fraud victims forums. Pundits on cable dissected it, Fox calling it liberal entitlement gone wild, MSNBC a triumph over patriarchal cover-ups. Polarizing, just as I'd engineered. But the gray? In nod, was I hero or villain for dragging Dad down too? Mom broke the silence that afternoon, showing at my door with a pie, apple, lattice crust like armor. Your father told me about the debts. We sat on the fire escape, drizzle misting our faces, the city a hum below. I knew Eden.
Bits.
Ignored the rest. Easier that way. Easier. The words soured the pie's sweetness. For who? For all of us, until it wasn't. She wiped her eyes, mascara tracks like battle scars. Lila's talking, says you'll go down for the leaks. Harassment, maybe. Let her. But doubt flickered. Jail again? The thought clawed, visions of orange jumpsuits and collect call pleas. The week blurred into depositions, my lawyer, a pro bono firebrand from legal aid, coaching me through the minefield. Stick to facts, she said, sharp as a stiletto. Emotions are for the jury. Facts. Lila's schemes, my cover. The wedding lie as cherry on top. But the twist loomed, the one that'd make readers debate over brunch mimosas. Javier uncovered it Saturday, deep in Trent's financials, a wire transfer from Lila's offshore to my safety deposit box. The Emerson copies? She'd planted them there years ago, framing me as the hoarder of evidence, the obsessive grudge holder. She played you long game, Javier growled over secure line. Those gifts after prison?
Bait.
Now it looks like you orchestrated the whole thing. The betrayal deepened, a chasm swallowing light. Not just Excluded, puppeteered. My revenge? Her script all along. Sunday, I confronted her in the visitor's room at Rikers, plexiglass between us like judgment. She looked smaller, jumpsuit swallowing her frame, but the smile was pure predator. Surprise, she said, picking up the phone. Told you I'd burn it all. Why? The question cracked, raw as an open wound. Because you were always the better sister, Eden.
Steady loved.
I had to make sure you fell harder. Flip again, envy as motive, decision to sabotage rooted in sibling rot. I hung up, walking out into the island fog, the last laugh echoing hollow. Or was it? The twist hit as I hit the bridge. The transfers? Traced to Dad's OTB debts, not her malice. A red herring, her final bluff. But the damage? Irreversible. As sirens wailed, I chose. Expose the full truth, or let the narrative stand. Controversial to the end. Hero's burden or villain's mercy. The choice gnawed at me like a bad tooth, the kind you ignore until the abscess bursts. Expose Dad's debts fully. Drag the old man through the tabloid mud. Watch Mom's pie-baking hands tremble over court summonses. Or let Lila's bluff stand, painting me as the mastermind. It was the grayest of grays. The decision that'd split therapists and barflies alike. Mercy for the enablers, or justice for the fallout. Monday, I met my lawyer in her Tribeca office, the one with exposed beams and views of the Hudson churning gray. Elena Vasquez, fifth-gen New Yorker, tattoos peeking from her cuffs, leaned back in her Herman Miller, eyes like laser sights. The evidence clears you on the plant job. Wires from your dad's account, not hers. But going public with his gambling? That's a grenade. Blasts everyone, including you. Including me how?
Optics, eden.
You're the victim sister now. Tarnish that with Daddy Dearest bookie tabs and juries see enablers, not innocents. Plus, Lila's plea deal's on the table, 6 months if she fingers no one. Walk away clean, she rots.
Clean.
The word tasted like bleach. And if I don't? Full disclosure. Elena shrugged, filing her nails with an emery board that whispered menace. Then it's scorched earth. SEC freezes assets. Dad's store forecloses. Mom's in assisted living by Christmas. You? Hero to some, homewrecker to the rest. I left her there, the ferry back to Queens rocking like my resolve. Hero or homewrecker, America's favorite binary, served with fries. The city blurred past, joggers and lycra, suits barking into AirPods, all oblivious to the vendettas brewing under the skin. Javier was waiting at my place, laptop open to wire fraud statutes, a six-pack sweating on the counter. What's the play, boss? We hit send on the dad dump or pivot?
Pivot.
The word evoked Lila's sorority flips, her chameleon charm. We wait, I said, cracking a can. The fizz mirrored my veins. Let her sweat the plea. See if she blinks. She did, Tuesday night. A contraband phone call, voice tinny through the jail line.
Eden?
Don't do it. The debts, Dad's clean now. Rehab, AA. It's killing him. Killing him. The sympathy ploy, controversial as a deathbed conversion. Like you killed my career? My engagement. Silence, then a sob, real or rehearsed. I was scared. Young, stupid. Trent was the fix, the normalcy.
You.
You were always fine without.
Fine.
The lie we tell survivors. I hung up, but the seed took root. Maybe mercy wasn't weakness. Maybe it was the ultimate revenge, letting her rot with her guilt, untouched by my blade. But fate, that capricious bitch, had other plans. Wednesday, Trent surfaced, a coffee at a neutral spot in Dumbo, the kind with pour-overs and exposed Edison bulbs. He looked wrecked. 5 o'clock shadow at noon, tie loose like a noose half-tied. Eden, I need to know. Was it all her? The fraud, the wedding bullshit. I sipped my flat white, steam curling like questions. 90%. The rest? Family complicity. Dad's debts fueled it. His jaw tightened, eyes flicking to the East River. I pulled strings. Got her firm audited, quietly. Leverage for the divorce settlement.
Divorce.
Already? The speed shocked even me. And she's exposed. But so are you. Those leaks? Trace to your IP if I push. Blackmail. Round 2. Trent, the bland Ken doll, flipping to antagonist with a prenup clause. What do you want? Walk away. Sign an NDA, drop the Victim Act. Or I bury you both. The threat polarized the moment. Fight the ex with Lila's dirt, or ally in silence. American pragmatism whispered compromise. but the fire in my gut roared no. Bury this, I said, sliding a USB across. Javier's latest. Trent's crypto dodges, IRS bait. Or we all swim in shit. He paled, pocketing it with trembling hands. You're as bad as her. Worse, maybe. The mirror cracked a little more. That night, the climax brewed. Lila's arraignment was public, the courthouse steps a circus of cameras and chants, free Lila picketers clashing with victim advocates. I watched from the crowd, hood up against the chill wind off the harbor. Mom and Dad were there, front row, faces gaunt, as POWs. When the judge read the charges, wire fraud, money laundering, conspiracy, the room gasped. Lila stood tall, chin up, but her eyes found mine through the throng, pleading. Then the flip, her lawyer, slick as oil, motioned for continuance. Your Honor, my client wishes to enter a guilty plea, with cooperation. Names to be provided in chambers. Cooperation. The bomb dropped. Reporters surged, mics thrusting. Who, Miss Harlow?
Spill?
She didn't. But I knew, Trent, the firm, maybe even Dad. The decision controversial. Rat out the enablers for leniency, or take the full hit like a martyr. The bailiff called recess, and chaos reigned. I pushed through, reaching the family huddle as Lila was led away. Mom clutched my arm, nails digging. She named you Eden. In prep, said you masterminded the revenge for the Emerson grudge. Named me. The twist within the twist, her final betrayal, flipping victim to villain in one plea bargain. Dad's face crumpled. I told her not to.
But she's
scared.
Scared.
The word humanized her, splitting my rage. Was this justice's gray heart? No pure right, just survivors clawing? I broke free, storming the holding area, demanding 5 minutes. The guard, bored, waved me in. Lila sat at the steel table, cuffs glinting, looking every bit the fallen prom queen. You sold me out, I hissed, inches from the glass. No barrier here, just raw proximity. To save my ass. You'd do the same. Her smile twisted, cunning resurfacing. Or would you? Steady, Eden. Always the good girl. Good girl who took your fall. Twice. The words echoed, tense as a standoff. She leaned in, breath fogging the divide. Twice? This makes 3. Please sticks your accessory to harassment. Prison reunion. The threat hung. You am as Riker shadows. But then, the real twist, whispered like contraband. Dad's not clean, Eden. The debts?
He started them.
Emerson was his tip from a bookie. Inside track on the merger. I covered to protect him. You took the hit for us both. Dad. The architect. The secret chiseled deeper, crime born not just for Lila, but the patriarch's folly. My world tilted, betrayal of family tree with rotten roots. Why tell me now? Because fuck him.
And you.
Let it burn. Flip again, sister to saboteur, decision to torch the nest sparking debate, loyalty or liberation. I left her there, cuffs clanking like applause, the courthouse a vortex. Outside, rain lashed the steps, protesters scattering like confetti. Mom and Dad huddled under an awning, eyes questioning. What did she say? Truth or lie? The polarizing choice. Nothing worth repeating. Mercy for now. But the fire? It spread. That night, anonymous leaks hit the wires, Dad's OTB records, courtesy of Javier's deep dive. Not from me, but who? Lila's parting gift, or Trent's counterpunch. The climax peaked Thursday, a sit-down at the DA's office, me, Elena, and a fedored prosecutor with a Brooklyn drawl. Harlow's plea implicates you, Miss Carter. Revenge plot. We got emails. Forged, no doubt. Check the metadata. Her handiwork. He grunted, flipping files. Maybe. But her story's compelling. Jealousis, prison grudge. Jury eats that up. Compelling. Controversial. The room tensed, air thick as a jury box. What's the offer? Testify against the family. Full immunity. Dad's debts seal it. Conspiracy. Betray them all. The decision loomed, dark as the harbor at midnight. Rat out blood for freedom, or join the pyre. I stood, chair scraping. Give me 24. The drive home was a blur, wipers slapping rhythm like accusations. Javier met me at the door, face grim. It's out. Dad's name in the Times. Store's done. I crumpled the printout, headline screaming, wedding fraud web, father's gambling fuel scheme. Polarizing perfection, hero exposes patriarch, or vengeful daughter destroys legacy. Mom called as thunder rolled.
Eden?
The paper, it's lies.
No, Mom.
Truths you ignored. The line crackled, her sobs the storm's underscore. Friday dawned bloody. Figuratively, thank God. Dad's arrest at dawn, hardware store taped off, neighbors gawking like it was a Netflix drop. I watched from across the street, coffee scalding my palm. He emerged, cuffs glinting, eyes meeting mine through the cruiser window. No hate, just sorrow. I'm sorry, kid.
Sorry.
Too late, or just in time. The DA reconvened at noon, offer sweetened. Immunity for all if I flipped on Lila's offshore. But the twist hit by a text from her jail-smuggled phone. Take it. I did the leaks. Burn them for me. Her final flip, antagonist to ally, urging the scorched earth.
Why?
Envy's endgame, or sister's buried love. I signed, pen heavy as lead. Testimony Monday, full confession, family implosion. The revenge climax, readers divided, triumphant justice or tragic overkill. As the ink dried, the last laugh echoed, tense and hollow. No winners, just survivors in the rubble. The testimony room smelled like stale pretzels and regret, the kind of fluorescent hell where truths twist into nooses. Monday morning, 10 a.m. sharp, I walked into the federal courthouse in Foley Square, Elena at my flank like a pit bull in pearls. Reporters camped the steps, flashbulbs popping like gunfire, their shouts a cacophony. Eden, did Lila frame you? Any message for your dad? No messages. Just the weight of the folder under my arm, affidavits, bank trails, the Emerson autopsy. The elevator hummed upward, my stomach churning with the ascent. Immunity meant no cuffs for me, but the cost? Priceless, in the most American way. Freedom bought with family bones. The prosecutor, Vinnie Russo, drawl intact, tie askew, greeted us with coffee that tasted like motor oil. Ready to roll, Miss Carter? Lila's in the tank, singing like Sinatra on a bender. Names everyone but the Pope. Even Dad. He nodded, flipping to a highlighted plea transcript. Says he greenlit the skim.
You?
Obsessive avenger. But our forensics clear your IP on the leaks. Her bluff. Bluff called. The relief washed cool. But the undercurrent? Guilt's riptide. And Trent. Side deal. His crypto's under seal, testifies against her firm, walks with a fine. Vinny leaned in, breath minty with ambition. Your place seals it. Full story, no holds. Jury loves a redemption arc. Redemption. The words soured the Joe. Was this mine or just the next con? Elena squeezed my knee under the table. Silent, you got this. The grand jury room was a jury box of suits and stenographers, faces blank as poker pros. I took the stand, lights hot on my skin, and spilled. The Emerson setup, my forged confession, the prison haze of regret. I thought it was loyalty, I said, voice steady as the Verrazano cables. Turned out it was leverage. Gasps rippled, subtle, but there. Then the wedding, the cancer lie, the crash, the montage that cracked the facade. They erased me to preserve the fairy tale. I brought the reality check. Questions flew. Dates, docs, motives. I answered clean, Elena objecting to traps. But the twist, the one that'd spark forum wars, came on Dad's debts. He started the hole. I admitted, throat tight. Lila filled it with fraud. I plugged it with my freedom. The foreman, a no-nonsense accountant type, leaned forward. And now? Regrets.
Regrets.
The polarizing pivot. Every day. But silence was complicity. This, it's truth's ugly cousin. We wrapped by 2, the panel nodding like they'd bought the pitch. Immunity stamped, case forwarded to trial. Vinny clapped my back. Nailed it. Lila's looking at 10. Dad, 3 with good behavior. Clean slate for you.
Clean.
Again, with the clean. I bolted for the stairs, gulping air in the stairwell. Echoes mocking my victory. Outside, the gauntlet. Cameras, cousins, curiosity seekers with signs. Justice or vendetta? Mom waited by the fountain, umbrella shielding her from more than rain, her face a roadmap of lines etched deep.
Eden.
Not now. But she grabbed my wrist, grip frail as rice paper. He took the plea this morning. Named Lila, not you. Said it was his mess alone.
Dad.
Flipping script in the end, taking the hit, shielding me like I once did her. The twist landed soft, a gut punch wrapped in grace.
Why?
For you, kiddo. Always was. Her eyes welled, the first crack in her denial dam. Come home? Just for dinner. Home. The word dangled, controversial as a truce in trench warfare. I nodded, numb, and let her lead me to the subway. Up to Bay Ridge, the old neighborhood unchanged, stoop scrubbed, flags whipping in the wind. The house smelled of pot roast and polish, Dad's chair empty but warm. We ate in silence at first, forks scraping plates like confessions. Then Mom broke it. The store's gone. Auction next week. I'm sorry. The words fell flat, but she waved them off. You're doing? Or fates. Doesn't matter. We're still here.
Still here.
Blood thicker. Even diluted. The call came mid-meal. Trent, voice clipped over speaker. Settlement wired. NDA holds. Stay out of my life. And Lila? A collect from Rikers, patched through. Heard you testified. Thanks, sis. Sarcasm? Or genuine? Don't thank me. Own it. Laughter, brittle but real. Learning to. Parole in 5. Visitor? The offer hung, tense as a tightrope. Maybe. Hanging up, the room settled, rain pattering the roof like hesitant applause. Dad's absence loomed, but Mom's hand on mine grounded it. The gray heart of it all. No one's wholly right. I vengeful, them complicit, Lila cunning to a fault. But the decisions? They wove us tighter, a family quilt of flaws. Weeks blurred into autumn's burn, leaves flaming Central Park, my freelance gigs stacking like armor. The trial hit headlines, Harlow sisters saga, fraud, fury, and fractured bonds. Pundits debated, me the catalyst of catharsis, or chaos queen. Forums fizzed. Eden's a boss, expose the rot, versus family privacy people. This is mob mentality. I read it all. Fire escape perch my throne, bourbon my scepter. Javier proposed over tacos. Move in? Make it official. I said yes, the future a tentative sketch. Thanksgiving loomed, Mom's call tentative. Table set. Room for one more? Lila's parole hearing was Tuesday. I showed, suit pressed, testimony prepped, not for absolution but accountability. She walked out at 3, pale in civvies, hugging shadows. Our eyes met across the lot. No words, just a nod. Sisters scarred but standing. Dinner that night. Awkward plates. Dad on work release zooming in from the halfway. Jokes landing soft. Toasts clinked to fresh starts, flawed as they come. The last laugh? It wasn't mine or hers. It was the echo, the debate that lingers over coffee, the twist that asks, in revenge's shadow, who rebuilds?
Me. Us.
America, messy, mended, marching on. Epilogue whispers. Lila started over in Philly. Paralegal gigs scrubbing toilets metaphorically. Dad reclaimed the store with a GoFundMe miracle. Mom's pies the draw. Trent? Faded to irrelevance, another Connecticut ghost. And me? Eden Carter, no longer the fall guy. The betrayed who bit back. The avenger who learned mercy's bite. The end? Open, arguable. Happy in the healing, or tragic in the toll. You decide. That's the real hook.